Hello everyone, welcome to Hydra Beginners Tutorial number 2. And if you haven't watched the first one, please go ahead. And if you have watched, as I said in the previous video, we're going to go through some of the functions like color functions, geometry functions, and let's see, we stick to the webcam like we did in the last video. But before going to the content, I just completely forgot, or the first video was more about hands-on, try to do something so it's fun for you, motivating for you to create something. But I just want to give you some background of Hydra in the next couple of minutes. And I didn't actually mention the creator of Hydra, who is Olivia. I'll put all the links down below so you can check them out. Olivia is the one who created Hydra, as you can see here, Hydra Video Synth, and created, which means that she's not only the coder who wrote the code on the front end, back end. Actually, Hydra consists of so many different components, and we might make some video about tutorial about how to embed this Hydra code into your website, and then you start to see like, oh, actually this is the Hydra engine, this is the Hydra editor, so many like components. So what we see on the web browser consists of like so many things. And she created everything, let's say, with also the help of community. Like, you are part of community and I'm also part of community. And when we say like contribute, it's not all about writing code, but it can be like a bug report or writing some translation. I also contributed some Japanese translation that you can actually see the editor. This is actually, I don't know if it's well known, but if you go there, okay, I'm gonna switch to small Naoto here. And yeah, you can see this at the top row where it says, well, this means Japanese, so this is the one. I assume I wrote the Japanese version. Also, we have the Spanish version, German, Arabic, if I remember correctly. So all these things are like there thanks to the community. And don't be shy. You can be part of like a Facebook group or Discord group. And if you find something like, or if you want to do something, just reach out to people and someone might help you how to, contribute new translation, or if you want to implement a new feature, you can talk about it. It's not that it will happen, but it's good to keep in touch with the creators. For me, it was easy to reach out to Olivia, and that's something that I want to also say next, that about like where it started basically. And this is actually not well known, and I really need to want to give a shout out to Daniel, who very recently passed away, which is it's been very difficult for us, but he's visual artist, performer. I also put the link down below, and this was the session that this is Daniel, and Annie, she's also, well, it's a bit hidden, but she's also very active in the net art field. You can see me in the Japanese room because I was participating in this networked session in December. I was in Japan 2 a.m., which I really appreciate that I was there to be part of the this gathering. So as you can see, this was happening in Zoom, but Daniel, as well as his long-term collaborator Lisa and Olivia, they were working at one point. I think it was around 2015 actually when I met them in person, and also 2018, if I remember correctly. They had this idea of creating networked video performance, like what they say, like node. So each one of us computers, they're like nodes, and somehow they're interconnected with each other. And that's actually like a foundation of the Hydra. So it's not that well, Olivia wrote the code, but the idea come from different places, and one of them is Daniel. And we're still processing this, and it's been very difficult. But if you're interested in Hydra, I'm pretty sure you're interested in his work as well. You can find so many interesting things on his Tumblr, and please look into this. You will find inspiration. For me, he's always super inspirational for me, for my artistic work, for my research as well. So yes, I just wanted to have this time to give acknowledgement to Daniel, as well as Lisa. Lisa Para. So Daniel and Lisa, they had this project called Land Project, and that was a big project that Olivia Jack, who's the creator of Hydra, she was also part of this as a collaborator, and they did a lot of telematic networked performances and experiments. And yes, again, so this is kind of the background of Hydra. So Hydra itself is not about video performance per se, but it draw a lot of ideas of this interconnected visual streaming videos, and you will see this as we go through the tutorial. You will see these concepts, and at one point probably it will click to you. So it will be nice if you take a look at these relevant works. That will be very interesting, not just as a technique to do better visuals, but something to understand the background, where it comes from, and so on. So, okay, so I'm going to just go back to normal tutorial me, and it's been very difficult. We're still processing, but I'll just try to switch, and it might sound a bit dry, but I'm trying to bring good vibes to the community. It's like a family of people working together, and especially NetArt, because internet doesn't work with just one person, right? And that's the whole idea, and that's why it's beautiful that Hydra has this idea of interconnection. Okay, so that's something I wanted to give as an introduction. And today we're gonna go from the example we did. I know this by heart. You don't have to well, actually it's better to remember it by heart, so that it's not always copying the code. But for example, this gives you this we did already, like this stretched me. I have a different sweater today. This is also like a challenge for me to wear a different sweater every time in the video. Anyways, I have a project collecting sweaters, but that's another thing. But actually it's kind of relevant because we're using webcam, like web image, like camera image as a medium. And this is not just about, like, for example, if we said like color, this is something that you can change color. This is going to just give you red channel, so this becomes black. This was blue, but now it looks black because it doesn't contain much like red color on this. So this is something that interesting way to learn how colors interact. I don't have like colorful objects around me. I'm in a university green screen room, so I can't try things out. But this is something also, like, it's not just about writing code. You can like bring things and try to do something, or you can move the computer around, and that can be interesting performance. Like doing video jockey is not just about writing a lot of code and like showing off your skills, which is also fun. But for example, like at one gig I did, actually that was the only time I properly did VJ with Hydra. And that time I was like using the mouse cursor to move the window to match the sound, the beat of the sound. And everyone was like, wow, this is like, I never thought about this. And I was like, okay, I mean, you don't need to write code to do that. Just moving like the window like this. Literally, oops, I moved it somewhere else. So you have to be careful sometimes. But okay, it's back here, and I'm gonna stretch this back here. Okay, so there's so many like creative things that you can do. And for example, like the example I talked about, Daniel, but he's the one who would be like doing more. I know that he was doing some coding with processing and such. But also like using objects and relation to each other, someone on the internet or overlaying images. So there's so many things that you can do without code. And actually what I think is beautiful is when it matches with the code. So you have this synergy of like something happening in the camera image, but also that is modified by the code, the function. But let's see, like this is like introductory tutorial. I talked a lot. I haven't really gone to the functions yet. And okay, so we did color, yes. Also, you can have alpha channel that you can hide. Okay, that's useful, or you can be, oh, it's interesting. Okay. I didn't know like 0.5 doesn't really make it semi-transparent. That's strange. Oh, I'm frozen. Okay, that's something I didn't know. And then Colorama, which makes this kind of funny glitchy noise effect. I say effect as a visual effect, but functioning as producing this effect. And you can make it bigger and going more crazy. I will go, like the compression of the video will go crazy, so I'll just make it a bit humble. But anyways, so that's something that you can do. And now, so let's go back to the tutorial, the page that I also link, make the link down below, but it's the same one as last time. So we did this colorama, and the next one is saturate. And saturate is quite self-explanatory. Let's do it without anything. It looks actually a little bit saturated image. I don't know if you can see it, but if I don't have this function, and again, how to run the code, it's Control Shift Enter. So if you do saturate, it's a little bit saturated than the normal image, right? So I don't know what the parameter is, maybe 2? Yeah, probably something around 2 is the default. 1 will not do anything. So, oh, today the computer is a little bit glitchy, but it's okay. So if I do more and more, it will make more and more saturated, and you can go crazy, like 100 or 1,000, but it will probably like, you know, like saturate will saturate. It will clip at some point. So, but that's kind of fun. Like this is already like something, and it's actually, as I said, it's nice to have different colors on your shirt or sweater, because now I can see that, oh, these colors are completely saturated. See? And the other way around, you can also do saturate 0.5. And if you go towards 0, it produces grayscale image. And that's really important to know, so that you can do, like you can use the saturate function in order to make it super saturated, or you can take all these colors out and make grayscale image. This could be handy in some cases. And you know, if you like black and white kind of aesthetics, this is probably something you like. What happens if you do minus? Okay, so it does like really like negative kind of color. I'm really curious. I don't know if the next one is invert, but let's see. It's not invert, but I will introduce invert, because now I'm curious if saturate -1 is same as invert. No, it's not. So it's kind of like inverted image, but it's, so invert will just make inverted color. So red becomes cyan. I don't remember. But you know, like, if you calculate this RGB thing, or you can just say that, oh, it's going to invert color, like a negative color, basically. So it's not. But you can do saturate -1 if you like this one, or if you like invert, then you can use invert. You know, there's always like, you can like try combinations, and you just figure out what you like. That's the beauty of, you know, working with the code, because you're not constrained by anything. You can just like have total freedom. How many functions you chain or not chain, that's really your decision. And again, you can say like, okay, saturate 1 is normal 1, but saturate 2. And I want like color, well, okay, I'm gonna probably use Colorama, overuse Colorama, because it's fun. Oh wow, this is crazy. Especially like with this pattern of the sweater. Wow, this is really fun. and that's something you can like really like try with like different material, like texture of the object, what you wear, and see what works for you. And again, if you like something, always try to do Control-Shift-S to save it, save the code and image as well, so you can share it with others, or just, you know, select everything, copy it to your text editor, Visual Studio Code, whatever editor you like, so that you can come back to this later. And that, again, I want to emphasize that this is something that you have to find your own workflow. I'm suggesting different ways to do it, but it's really like up to you, and it's really helps you to learn, because then after a few days, if you want to come back, how do I start? You can open the text editor and see what you made, and then that kind of reminds you where you like left off, and then you can come back to it, and you already have like a kind of corpus of, you know, Hydra sketches. That's great, and you can have an exhibition with this. So I highly recommend you to do it. And also, like, if you find your workflow, the way you save it, the editor you like, please comment down below so that you can share it with others. And that's the beauty of open source project, or like kind of community kind of project. You can also post it in a Discord group or Facebook group or social media, whatever, so that other people can learn as well, and maybe you get feedback from others. So don't afraid to share things that what you made, and nobody's gonna, I hope nobody's gonna criticize what you do. I personally don't do that. If you want like a feedback, you know, I can also comment on it, but I don't say like, oh, I don't like this color, you know. That's really like a personal thing. So it's more about like, yeah, giving constructive feedback to each other so that we can make things interesting and motivate each other. So also, if you have questions, feel free to comment down below, or I'm on Mastodon, so you can reply to me and then I can see it. Or just find my email somewhere. I keep it open. You can probably find it on my website, if I remember correctly. So, or, you know, also like you can ask some other people like Olivia. She might be with well, everyone's busy, but Flor is also very active. Richie, what's their name? Geika or something? Yeah, they're very like active on the Hydra community. So there are a lot of nice people that you can reach out to, and yeah, so that's the idea. That, for example, I made this small code with this because of this cloth. It's super interesting, and that's something that I could, you know, share with others. In my case, it's on this video. But let's go back to the code, because otherwise we only looked at the saturate and a little bit of invert. But what I want to say is, like, if you change the order again so it was saturate colorama, but now it's colorama saturate. And it doesn't do this anymore. Oops, it stopped again. It doesn't do this anymore. So, okay, that's something I learned. Is this because of my sweater? Probably not, because of this order that makes it very specific. Depending on the order, it makes really different effect, different like visual result, let's say. All right, and again, you can, you know, change color, or if you want to change, again, you can do colorama here as well. Like, you know, there's no reason why you can't use same function twice, 3 times, 4 times. You can do saturate again. This is already something. So just try, you know, think out of the box. You don't have to use one function once or a specific order. It doesn't have to be alphabetical order. Or maybe you want to make some kind of rule so that you can like stick to it and explore what would that mean to you. But just try different things and be bold. Okay, let's speed up a little bit. So we have this thresh. Let's show the normal image, come back to the real life from the Hydra world. So what is thresh? It's thresholds the image. So it basically makes like black and white. And it's very different from what we saw with saturate. The idea is similar, saturate with 0, that makes grayscale, but this is grayscale. So it has like different shades of gray. And but in the case of thresh, it makes only black and white. So brighter colors become white, darker colors become black. And with the parameter, you can say, I think the default is 0.5, which is like the halfway. So from the halfway, like the gray color, if it's like a little bit lighter gray, then it becomes white. A little bit darker gray becomes black. And you can manipulate this so that, oh, this now I can see my face. So I like this parameter. It also depends on my lighting and the exposure of the camera and so on. But in this case, actually 0.3 works. And if I make it too small, now I'm just completely washed out. So you can like play if it's like too big. Oh, actually, this is kind of interesting texture, right? So I don't know. I don't want to go political, so let's just keep it like this interesting. But you can really like try different parameters and see what works for you in this case, and always save it so that you know that this works in this lighting condition, that works in this condition, and so on. So Thresh is funny, fun and funny sometimes. There's another parameter that makes it a little bit like kind of, it's hard to say, like the cutting. So in before it's like a curve, like a, how to say, like a color curve in like Photoshop or GIMP that you can manipulate, like not to make like a harsh, like steep, like a cliff that. So this was like really steep. Like if it's 0, then it goes like really like cut off. It's either black or white. But if you make it like 0.1, then it makes this like the level, like change in like Photoshop or GIMP that you might know, a little bit softer. So there are actually different colors, different gray colors in the image. And if you make it like 1, then it kind of like actually make it like less contrast. So this is something that you can also play with, and also you can try different things like this. This actually inverts the color, actually, I didn't know. Okay, so that's Thresh, and next one is Luma. Luma is a little bit, actually it might be more useful when it comes to playing with like layering things, because this actually is not just making it color black, but it's actually making it cut off with alpha channel. So it's helpful when we later look into layers, we can kind of blend them on top of each other. With Luma, it's super helpful. But for now, we can see it's a bit similar to Thresh, but instead of making it like white and black, we keep the brighter one. So you see the green color, my green screen, as it is, not as white, but the darker color becomes black. So it's kind of like hybrid of like Thresh, but like halfway Thresh, I don't know. And this does the same thing, that the cutoff point is set by the first parameter, and the second one makes the kind of soft transition, for example. But you can always use it without parameter. This is quite handy, Thresh and Luma. And Thresh makes it actually black color, not alpha, so it might be confusing. We'll go into this deeper when we talk about the layering. Now, oh yeah, because before going to, so the next thing will be geometry, and I hope I have a little bit of time to talk about the geometry, so finally I can squish myself to the proper aspect ratio. But before that, if you want to do VJ with this, what we have now, we can still do it. Like I want to do like color, and then like something in red, and then I don't know, I can dance with the music. That's one way to like react to the sound, or like I can just like try to like change the color with the beat, which is probably not really feasible. If you're like super fast with typing, maybe you can. So there is this square bracket. I noticed like sometimes depending on your keyboard, it's very difficult to find these square brackets. So if you have problems, and or like if you know how to solve this, please comment down below. In my case, I use either a US keyboard or Japanese keyboard, and I never had a problem with this. Sometimes you need to like hold like Option, like Alt key with some kind of number keys. But basically, like, you have to like wrap this around, and inside you put like, for example, like 1, 0, like 1, comma, 0. So always like number separated by comma, and we evaluate this. So what happens here is that every 2 seconds, it changes from 1 to 0. So it's exactly like, for 2 seconds, it's just like this 1, 1, 1, which is like now it's normal color. But for the next 2 seconds, it becomes this one that is like more yellowish. And you can also do something like this. So you can use for each parameter, you can use it once. You cannot nest it, but you can just put, you know, like this, and then this means that it will alternate between 1, 0, 1 right now, and 1, 1, 0. But I can explain, but probably for you, it's easier to just like try it out and see what works. And of course, you don't have to use just one of them. You can like 2 parameters, but you can use 4 parameters inside the square brackets. And it doesn't have to match, you know, so it becomes like, you know, different combinations. So it goes like through cycles, and, you know, like now you start to see like different combinations of colors. And that's something you might be interested in doing. And I know that 2 seconds is quite slow. That is because there is this hidden parameter, BPM. And in programming, you might be familiar with it. If you're not, then now you know. BPM, this is like a variable. It's like a box where we store numbers or characters or string or whatever. It can be even function. But anyways, so this is like reserved for setting BPM. And to set the BPM, we use this equal sign and number. This is not like a, you know, mathematical like equation. Like, it doesn't mean that BPM is 30, but this is the way to set BPM parameter. Just copy it, you know, just copy it. And the default number is 30, and that's why it's 2 seconds, because BPM, 30 BPM means it's 1 beat every 2 seconds. If we say like, because BPM is beats per minute, right? So if it's 60, then it's every 1 second. So I'm gonna evaluate this. Okay, so now it's like 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. And if you want to go faster, of course, you can do like 120. And now it's changing every half a second. And sometimes it's not. That's because, like, for example, if you say like, okay, I want to have like a lot of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, then it won't change for that sequence, right? So sometimes like you won't see like, okay, I set BPM 120, but it's not following this. It might be because of that. But this is like, well, this is probably not very useful, but sometimes you want to have like 0001, you know, like every 4 count, you want to have different color, for example. So this is a way to have some kind of rhythm, but for now, I'm not going to use it in the tutorial because it becomes quite messy. But if you want to explore what you can do, and, you know, if you have like a VJ gig tomorrow, maybe this is like super useful. I don't know, you might have one. Or if you want to throw a party, you know, like you can just use that as a kind of like a little trick to make it like, if you know the BPM of the song, then it's easy to do something like this. Okay, so I'm gonna just like delete them, and let's go back to the tutorial. And finally, let's go to the geometry. And I think I'm gonna just go through this repeat and scale, and I'll leave the rest to the next tutorial video. So what I want to do is repeat. So let's always, you know, like just leave the default parameters, nothing inside the parentheses. You know, just keep it easy. So what happens now is that repeat, like, literally means like we're repeating this image on the horizontal direction and vertical direction. So it becomes like a grid. And that's because, and it's the 3 by 3 because the default parameters are 3 and 3. But so you can probably guess that if you want to like have 10 by 10 grid, then it becomes this. And actually, this is not the right way to fix the aspect ratio, but because now we have control, so as you can see, like 10 corresponds, the first one corresponds to horizontal count, and the second one corresponds to the vertical count. So, okay, what I want to do is do something like this, for example. You don't have to have the same number of elements in each axis. So this would actually, like, if I try to like do something like this, it's kind of like, it's not, and then I'm frozen again. It's not exactly true, but I have this grid that the aspect ratio is almost the same as the original video. So now I kind of solved it, and I might want to reduce this number, and then if I do something like this, oh my gosh, it's scaling up a little bit too much, but I can change the number here, and you can see that the aspect ratio is almost right. So this is something, but this is not the right way to fix aspect ratio. The repeat is more about making it like a grid of images, like this. So I'm going to introduce scale, and this is a tricky one, but we're going to do it anyways. So without the parameter, okay, let's go back to what it was, right? Like this. And if I just do scale without any parameter, what happens here is it's actually like zooming in. So it's like kind of scaling up. And I forgot the first parameter. I think it's 1.5. It is. So scale 1 is basically no scaling. So you see me as, like original stretched image. But if you say like scale 2, then it's like double the size. So now I'm like zoomed in. And of course, if you do like 0.5, then it will like go smaller. Oops, smaller. But what we noticed is that because it's not like wide angle lens I have. So what happens is that it starts like repeat in the surroundings. So it becomes like kind of like, it's like a sibling of the repeat function. Although it's a little bit different where it starts and so on, but like repeat and scale are kind of similar to each other. So you might wonder like, okay, so scale is kind of cool if you want to have like, 5 times, then, oh, that's like my big mouth. This is quite fun. But then what if I wanted to scale it in a way that it's like each axis, I want different scaling factor. So basically I want to fix this stretched image. It's a little bit tricky here. It's not super intuitive. So basically scale takes 3 parameters. If I do like 1, 1, 1, it will make no change basically. And if I say 1, 2, 1, so the first one is like kind of, okay, let's do it like this. 1, 2, 1, then it's like, I'm like even stretched more, because this one here, the first one is that like a kind of global, both X and Y direction, it will make it scaled in an even way. And this is like, I think the rationale was that you just take like one parameter and it will make like evenly scaled in like, bigger or smaller. So it's quite handy if you want to just take scale as something that takes one parameter. But if you give like 3 parameters to scale, like this, well, so it's like the second one corresponds to like this horizontal direction or x-axis, and the third parameter corresponds to y direction. So if I want to fix the stretched image, now I'm like stretched on like vertical direction, but I think it's more like this. Or if you know what kind of aspect ratio you're looking for, or this is right, it's the other way around, like this, then you can kind of correct the aspect ratio. For example, if it's full HD or something like that. I don't know if it's actually correct math, but sometimes it's just easier to like eye it, because this looks much more normal. Anyways, so I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but you can try it out. Most of the case, you have to like stretch. You are probably like stretched this direction, so you want to like stretch vertical direction, like what I did, 1.6. And if you combine it with the first parameter, this is always applying, like uniformly. So now my aspect ratio is kind of correct, but just like zoomed into my mouth. Or if I do it like other way around, I'm kind of shrunk, but the aspect ratio is still correct, roughly. It's a lot of explanation. But then, okay, so what do I do with this? We can take this to kind of fixed aspect ratio, but also you can have, okay, I'm just going to do it simple. But now, because we learned how to make a rhythm, so we can combine it with this one, for example. And this will make the pattern that goes 1, 2, 1, 2. And because I reloaded, the BPM is back to 30. Depending on your environment, the BPM might be faster if you set it faster or slower, but that depends on again, it can be here or it can be there, but just put it here. If I do it BPM 60, then it will be like 1 second, changing 1 second, 1 second. And you can, again, combine it with different functions, like color. And then you can do this rhythm thingy as well. Oh, it's not 1.0, it's 1.0. But 1.0 is also a valid syntax, so it didn't complain. But so, and what else did we learn? This repeat we did. And repeat is quite harsh, so maybe like every 4 count, I want repeat to be there. And now it's getting a little bit like a lot of text. I mean, it's not a lot of text, but there's kind of like intertwined in a way, so that you might want to, take a look if everything is correctly, syntactically correct, or sometimes you might want to, delete some of the things if you get like really crazy. The good practice I would suggest is just add one function at a time. So like, don't think about, like making your masterpiece, just writing and writing and writing and writing, and then evaluate. It will probably not run, not because of you, but it's like, because you have to verify like every step. So I would suggest you add one function, evaluate it, okay, it works. And now I'm gonna add Colorama. Okay, it works. So I want maybe Colorama with 0 and 0.1. Or maybe like Colorama is quite harsh, so 0.00 and 0.1. Oops. Well, it's quite harsh anyways. But I don't know, something is happening now. So this is quite fun. I probably want to do repeat 1, 1. Oh no, now it's getting too long, so it goes like to new line without adding new line. Oh my gosh, this is getting crazy. So if the code is getting longer and longer, you might want to add some punctuation, which is like new line. The best practice is to add new line before the dot. For example, here I put new line, and it adds this kind of like tab, so that you can kind of visually see that, okay, this line actually belongs to the first row. And for example, like S0 initcam and source S0, these lines are like kind of separate, independent. So there's no like, it's not like this, but these ones are like completely like coupled. So, and the editor knows that they're coupled, so it adds this double space. But you don't need to do it. You can just leave it out. It's not like a syntactical thing. It's just like a visual way to understand the code better. All right, so I made this kind of fun thingy. I don't know why it's going like this crazy. Actually, probably because of Colorama, but maybe I take the Colorama out. But okay, so yeah, it's kind of like making like different combinations, and it's already kind of fun. If I add this, probably it's going to be like more combinations. So okay, so it's doing something. I hope you like this, and if you create something fun, cool, please share it with others. It can be a comment down below, or it can be on your socials, or also like I really suggest like joining Discord group. You can find links here if you go to this, go back to like where it opens. this little, little big window. And now it's in Chinese, but in English, you can go down, 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 and you can find, there is also an active Discord server and Facebook group for Hydra users and contributors. So it's for you, and you can share. Also, if you can mention, like you learned from this video tutorial, maybe it's good for me, but you don't have to. Everything is, like open, so you take whatever I make, please do it. You don't always have to say that this is from my tutorial, but it will be nice, to kind of spread the word. And also, if you have any wishes, I want to try to make this as interactive as possible. So I know this is not the interactive, it's not like a streaming, but if you have something that you want to make, you are interested in, the topics you want to learn, please comment down below so that I can kind of navigate through different topics. Probably after finishing the basics, but also like if there are like common questions or problems you have, it might be, I might address that in the series. So please stay tuned, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and also share, what you ever make. And that's all. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next video of this tutorial series. Bye.